Hello friends, welcome to Curious Kingdom. Today we are going to recap satirical comedy movie Invention of Lying. Set in a world where humans never learned how to lie. Everyone tells the truth all the time with no exceptions. Even the word lying is absent from dictionary. People say exactly what they think and feel, even if someone is offended. Mark Bison, a middle-aged screenwriter, is looking forward to his date. He enters a building looking for her apartment. He knocks on the door, and a beautiful tall lady answers. Since there's no lying, the woman tells Mark he came early and she just started masturbating. Mark immediately replies that it now makes him think of her private parts and follows it by introducing himself. Before she introduces herself as Anna, she tells him that she's a little frustrated at the moment and is equally depressed and pessimistic about their evening tonight. When Anna hurries upstairs, she tells Mark to wait for her on the sofa as she needs to finish getting ready. And while doing so, she might realize she's still horny and attempt to masturbate without Mark hearing. Mark sits on the sofa alone to wait on her as he looks around, in an attempt to strike up a conversation. Mark says he is embarrassed because the restaurant he made reservations at may not be expensive enough for her, as it was all he could afford. Furthermore, he says he knows he's in his 40s, but he has no real assets and his boss is telling him he's going to be fired soon. Anna walks down the stairs smiling as Mark stands up from the sofa. Mark tells that her talk about masturbation made him horny and he hopes the date ends in sex. Anna replied him that she doesn't find him attractive and they both leaves for restraint. While talking to her mom on phone, Anna blatantly tells that he's not attractive and has no money. She also tells her that he is fat and has a snub nose, but is kind of funny and nice, further adding that she won't be sleeping with him or kiss him tonight. Their supper date closes with 3 void margarita glasses before Anna, as the server surrenders the bill and inquires as to whether she would call him in the event that he gives her his number, to which Anna says no. On their way back, he emphasizes that he realizes she is way over his head and went out with him just out of consideration for their mutual friend Greg, and that most probable he won't ever hear from her from this point forward. Anna answers by letting him know that she had better time than expected. Mark happily advises her to call him tomorrow in the event that she actually loves him when she's level-headed. However, Anna kisses him on the cheek and heads inside. Mark cheerfully. The following morning, Mark awakens and goes to work. He arrives at his office and sees a gathering led by office tour guide. However, the local area expert adds that Mark is one of their most ineffective screenwriters and would probably be fired today. After a long and awkward exchange of truth between Mark and his secretary, Shelley, Mark gets terminated from his work by his hesitant supervisor who feared conflict. He was terminated on the grounds that his movies of the 13th century were exhausting and they failed miserably. To make things worse, emails from Anna which stated that she doesn't find him attractive were circulated in whole office by Shelley. Prior to leaving with his work stuff, he is embarrassed by Brad Kessler, an extremely alluring man and perhaps of the best screenwriter in his office. He further berates Mark by letting him know that he's jealous of him and that he's a loser assigned to crappy century, further making fun of his script on Black Plague. The next morning, Mark wakes up to find his landowner knocking on the door asking for rent. Mark tells him that he got fired from work and he has just $300 left as his bank balance. However, the property manager actually demanded he pay the whole $800 or move out. Mark goes to the bank to close his account and withdrew everything he had. The banker then tells him their system is down at the moment and asks him the amount of money he wants to withdraw. In the moment of desperation, something unusual happened to him. He immediately replies $800. He did something that hasn't been done since humankind came into existence. The system comes back up again and the banker tells him he only has $300 in his account. Mark doesn't know what to say. Banker quickly apologizes to Mark and adds that it seems like banking system is making error and proceeds to give him $800 in large bills as Mark requested. Mark nervously walks out of the bank smiling, realizing what he just did. At that movement, Mark invented lying and got away with it, changing his life. He then pays his rent. His confused landlord who asks him how he arranged so much money, and he lies by telling him he just found the money lying on the street. The next day, Mark is at the bar having drinks with his friend Greg, as he tries to explain to him what he just invented. Mark is having a difficult time explaining what he pulled. He just told Greg he said something that wasn't. Greg shrugs as he doesn't know what a lie is. Mark, still frustrated by his inability to explain, decides to experiment by making up a lie to Greg and the bartender, telling them his name is Doug, which they believe. Mark gets frustrated and further tells them that he's black, he's an Eskimo, he's a pirate, a lion tamer with a wig, a one-armed German explorer, and that he invented bicycle. Greg and the bartender believed and justified all of those lies, which made Mark even more frustrated. Mark then asks the bartender and Greg what they would do if they could do anything and everything. Greg and the bartender answers that they would want to touch women's boobs and have sex with them. Mark hesitantly agrees and goes in search of boobs. Mark roamed around street, looking for perfect boobs. He spots a gorgeous blonde and told her that the world is going to end if they don't have sex right now. The terrified woman immediately agrees, and they go to the nearest motel to prevent the world from ending. But before anything happens, Mark feels guilty and eventually fakes a phone call to NASA and tells the woman the world is not going to end and everyone is safe. Slowly, Mark was learning the most primal art of lying and deceit. Later, while a police officer was going to arrest his friend Greg for drunk driving, he helped him by telling the officer that Greg was not drunk, and the officer believes him right away. They reach inside the casino, where Mark planned to get rich overnight using lying. He then cheats at the roulette table by replacing his chips on the winning number, to which the dealer automatically agrees. Later, while playing at the game machines installed, he informs the casino manager that he won a major jackpot, but no money came out. The manager immediately apologizes to him and tells his staff to open the vault and hand him his winnings. Both Mark and Greg exit the casino carrying buckets full of chips and cash, both agreeing that this has been the most amazing night of their lives. Sometime later, Mark met his neighbor Frank, who told him he might end his life that night. Mark decides to save his life by telling him that his life matters and that things will get better, hence learning that lying can be used for greater good. Mark then helped others throughout the day. He helped a homeless man get money from the bank. He whispered something in the ear of a frustrated employee, and she gladly went to work. He helps an arguing couple reconcile at the coffee shop. At the old age home, Mark interacted with old folks, lying to them and telling them what they wanted to hear. And they all had smile upon their faces, and some had tears streaming down their cheeks. Later that night, Mark hangs out with his neighbor Frank. Both of them enjoyed drinks together while watching TV. He convinced Anna to go out with him again on a date, telling her that he's a changed man and she may like him. One night, Mark saw a Lecture Films documentary in which the narrator claimed that no one writes a better documentary than Brad Kessler. Mark took this as a challenge to write a new screenplay about the 14th century being invaded by aliens, and that at the end of documentary everyone's memories was erased. He further adds that great screenplay writer Mark will one day find what transpired and will remind everyone. He finishes the script and pitches it to his old boss and to everyone at Lecture Films. He immediately was a celebrity at his office. Mark's screenplay turned out to be a blockbuster. He's now rich and famous beyond his imagination. While on his date with Anna, Mark receives a phone call. He receives a phone call informing him that his mother had a fatal heart attack. Mark rushes to the hospital room to find his mother, Martha, who's scared of the thought that she's going into nothingness. She tells Mark that she's scared of dying, and it brings teary eyes. Mark tells her that she's wrong about the eternity of nothingness. He then proceeds to add that after death, everyone gets their mansions and that she will be young again and there will be no sadness or pain, only love and happiness with all her loved ones beside her. Martha soon passes away, not with despair but with glitter of hope in her eyes. Next morning, Mark wakes up to find that his knowledge about death has traveled far and beyond, and he is now famous worldwide. As it turns out, the nurses at the hospital heard him while he was talking, and the news spread quickly than hellfire. People started to gather around him seeking answers about what happens after death, and he becomes a kind of prophet. Initially he felt bad, but when Anna made him realize that his mother felt good after knowing about afterlife, he decided to make up 10 rules or commandments for living a good life and securing a luxurious afterlife. He claimed to talk to a man in the sky who is responsible for everything that happens and promises great rewards in the afterlife as long as you do no more than 3 bad things. This talk got televised all across the globe and started a sort of religion among his followers. In spite of all the fame and wealth he got, Mark was conflicted and unhappy, as deep down he knew there's nothing like afterlife, and he made everything up, whatever the reason may be. During a meeting with Anna, she asked him if being rich and famous would make their children more physically attractive. Despite his urge to lie, Mark did not do it because of his love for Anna, and told her it wouldn't. Anna's obsession with mating with someone with superior genetics continued, and she dated Mark's rival Brad Kessler. Brad's was mean, selfish, and cruel towards Anna, including restricting her diet, made Anna uncomfortable, but she still agreed to marry him. After a few weeks, we see Mark waking up one morning in his mansion with long hairs and beard. Anna walks in and tells him that she came over to invite him to his marriage. Mark was disheartened and pleads with her not to do it. Anna tells him the wedding is tomorrow and she would be happy if he came. She further added that being around him makes her happy. Mark questions her then why she is marrying Brad. Anna tells him she only has a few years to marry someone with good genetics and financial stability as she is aging. She also adds that one day she'll be old and ugly. Mark emphasizes that for him she will always be desirable and beautiful. With tears in her eyes, Anna is at a loss for words in response to what he just said. She claims he confuses her. She begins to sob as she exits the mansion. Later that day at the park, Anna saw a chubby boy enjoying ice cream, which reminded her of what she and Mark's kids might look like since half of the kids' genetic makeup would come from Mark. When she saw other children teasing him, she soothes the youngster, telling him that despite being labeled short and fat, he is so much more than that. She calls him just Brian with a great smile. Craig persuaded Mark that he still had a chance with Anna the morning of the wedding. At Anna and Brad's wedding, Mark voiced his opposition to the union. Mark was requested by Brad and Anna to ask the guy in the sky what Anna should to do, but he declined, preferring that Anna's soul decide for herself. Anna went out looking for Mark, and Mark admitted that he can lie. Though she had trouble grasping the idea, Anna eventually declared her love for him. The film ends with a scene of Mark and Anna eating dinner together as a happy married couple with a son who seems to have inherited his father's superpower to lie. They both lied to Anna that she cooked a fantastic meal because that's what made her happy. Overall, The Invention of Lying is a fine comedy that explores the power of truth, the consequences of dishonesty, and the importance of authenticity. It highlights the role of lies in human interactions, and how the absence of lying can have both comedic and thought-provoking consequences. Through Mark's journey, the film encourages audiences to reflect on the significance of truth, honesty, and the complexities of human communication. That's all for today, folks. Curious Knight signing off. Stay safe, stay curious.